Good morning you guys, it's Karen and it's Christmas Day, so Merry Christmas, although I highly doubt that I'll get this up on Christmas Day, but maybe Boxing Day or the day after. As you can see, I don't have any eye makeup on at all. I've got my eyebrows done, I've got some foundation and blush and a little bit of lip gloss, but no eye makeup at all, and that's because my eyes are feeling quite sensitive and quite fragile, so I'll tell you about that, but that's why I'm not here doing a get ready with me. But the first time I put eyeshadow on, I will come and show you, of course. Today I just thought I'd come and give you a little update of what's been going on, and the funny thing is I actually filmed this a couple of days ago and then part of the footage was corrupt, and so I'm having to film it again, but it's worked out pretty well because I would say yesterday and today I have noticed a little bit of difference, a little bit of positive difference. So I am going to tell you everything that I think's gone on here and what I think has maybe gone wrong with my eyes, but I can see a little bit of a difference, and my husband said he could see a difference yesterday as well, so that's really useful and that's really hopeful. A lot of you have been commenting, if you've seen pictures of me or Instagram stories, etc., that you think my eyes look better. I have to say I take those with a grain of salt, simply because in my videos when I'm talking they do look better. Like right now there's a lot more lid space than there was before, and that's because my eyebrows are lifted. The problem is when I'm at rest, so when I'm like that, you know, which kind of looks like I'm scowling, but it's not. I do just have a, what is it called, a resting bitch face. I do just have that, but when I'm at rest is when I can tell the biggest difference. And people were commenting on, you know, that video I had on the coral top, people were saying, oh, your eyes look amazing. I'm like, that's before surgery. Remember I said that I pre-recorded some videos, so that was before I had the surgery. Okay, let me tell you about the pain, and actually let me get you close up. Hopefully you don't mind me being all up in your face, but I thought I'd give you a close up of what my eyes are looking like now. Because there's a couple of things to tell you about. So I don't have any makeup on, like I said, but what I did put on this morning was I started putting on my silicone gel. I'm using something called Dermatix, so I'm putting that on the scar, which is, let me fully close my eyes so you can see, in the middle of my eyes. Actually, I was thinking that it was too low, but I think as it's healing, it's looking like it's maybe not too low. So the inner part of my eye, the inner part of the scar, so from here to about the middle on both sides, feels absolutely fine, but from about the middle of my eye to the outside of my eye still feels really fragile. And when I notice it, there's two ways I notice it. One is when I'm cleansing my eyes. So I had asked the nurse, can I use my micellar water on a cotton pad just to go over my eyes each day, because I feel like even though I'm not putting any makeup on, there's still dirt and whatnot, you know, I still want to clean them, and she said that was fine. So when I put my micellar pad across my eye like that, in the outer areas, it still feels fragile. And so that's why I'm not putting makeup on. I think my eyes would be fine with makeup on, but I'm a bit put off because this still feels like there's a little bit more knitting together to do. Even though it looks okay, I think there's still some more healing to do there. And my big concern was taking off the makeup, you know, dragging the makeup off. You maybe can see there's a little lump here, so I'm going to concentrate the silicone gel on that. That is a little scar that has appeared probably about a week ago, and there is one, I think it's there in the middle of my eye as well. It's only very vague, so hopefully they will go away with time. And the other way that I'm noticing a little bit of pain is when I close my eyes in the light. So this light just now, I've got the light in front of me and two lights at the side is absolutely fine, but if I close my eyes it feels a little bit sensitive, and I notice it when I get up in the morning and go from dark to light. I'm like, oh, that actually hurts a little bit. So definitely still in the healing process. Comparison wise, like I said, you can see as soon as I relax, this bit here to me, when you see that little wrinkle there, that looks as if I am purposely frowning, but I promise you I'm not. That is just me when I'm not lifting my eyebrows, you know, that is just me when I'm relaxed, and you can see that I do still have hooded eyes, but I'm definitely seeing a difference. I think now, and I'll put some photos in, and I'm also going to put some video in, and the video actually was taken a couple of days, so I feel like it's even improved since then. But I think I've got a little bit more lid space now. I think my hooded eyes before were completely covering my eyes, and just looking in there now, I think there's definitely a little bit more space. The one thing that I did notice that I'm not happy about, and we'll watch and see how it goes, but certainly before the surgery, the hooding in my eyes was all this part. I had no hooding below this line here. So, you know, I always used to put my shadow up here, and I never had any hooding here, but there is now a hood here. So it's obviously the angle is taken off the skin. So you can see if I lift it up and put it down, you can actually see the line. I now have a hood, not so much on this left side. So my right eye definitely seems to be worse, I would say. And there's a little hood there. So that's something I would definitely complain about, saying, you know, I didn't have hooding here. I certainly wouldn't expect to come out from surgery worse. And so I'm going to keep an eye on that. By the way, whatever I say today, I am still aware that today is three weeks since I had eye surgery, and although the eyes are a fast healing area, it's still only 3 weeks since, you know, skin was cut away. And so definitely I know that I'm not going to make a final opinion until, what would I say? I would maybe not as far as April, but maybe February, maybe when a couple of months has passed, you know, I would then say, right, I think this is probably the final outcome. And so I am aware of that, but I think it's useful for you guys to know how I'm feeling and how it's looking and what's going on now, you know. And I think this will be, if this does turn out to be better than expected, I think this will be really useful. And even if it doesn't, I think it's been useful for some of you already that were saying you were considering this, but you know, now at least you're realizing that it can go wrong, potentially. We don't know whether mine has gone wrong yet or not. So I'm just going to address some of the comments that were left on my 1 week update. A few of you were concerned that I'd be depressed and down about it, but you were also really understanding about the fact that I was having a bit of a wobble about it and feeling a bit down about it. But it was only really that the day that I got the stereo strips off and looked at it, I just thought, this is not what, you know, I was expecting something a bit more dramatic. But I've moved on now, and I'm not even going to worry about it. And it does enter my head, and I'm noticing people's eyes now, and if they're hooded or not, and I will worry about that in April. You know, when March comes, I will do more research, take more photos, get my kind of case ready, if you like, for what I'm going to say to the surgeon when I go. A lot of you commented that my eyes are genetically hooded, therefore I can't expect too much of a change. So I do have a couple of things to tell you about that. Firstly, totally my fault, because the pictures I put into that last video were me, I think when I was like really young, like I'd say 8 and 12 or something like that. And I couldn't at the time find any photos of me in my 20s and 30s, but I now have. And my eyes were actually smooth. Although they are genetically hooded, they were much smoother and there was much more visible skin for my 20s and my 30s, for most of my 20s and 30s. And I think the hooding problem started when I hit 40. So that's the first thing about genetics. Like I said, totally my fault for not finding some updated photos to show you what my eyes could look like. They can look smooth and much better than they did before the surgery. But the other thing to mention about genetics is that there are people that have genetic hooded eyes that do have surgery. Whether or not you have genetic hooded eyes is not an indicator of whether you can have surgery or not. Whether you can have surgery or not depends on how much excess skin there is, the shape of your eyes, the placement of your eyebrows. You know, it's very, very unique. So, for example, Asian women with hooded eyes, genetic hooded eyes, often have surgery to remove those hooded eyes when they are very young, and that's nothing to do with aging, that is just to do with genetics. So even if I did have genetic hooded eyes, that shouldn't make a difference as to whether or not the outcome. There should still be an outcome if they've accepted me for surgery, if that makes sense. And something else, there are also celebrities, by the way, that have hooded eyes that I think look adorable, because a lot of people leave comments saying, you know, hooded eyes can look lovely, and I'm absolutely, totally agree with you. I don't have an issue with hooded eyes, just to be very, very clear. I have an issue with my own hooded eyes. Like, I can show you some pictures of celebrities with hooded eyes that look beautiful. And actually, like I said, I'm noticing it a lot more now, and a lot of people have got hooded eyes. From what I can see, watching TV and whatnot, I would say more people have got hooded eyes than haven't, if you know what I mean. It seems to be quite rare that people have a lot of lid space showing. But one of you actually left a comment, Peachy, I think it was Peachy70519, something like that, left a comment, and it really, the penny dropped for me, and I was like, that's exactly right. And she said, there's hooded eyes and then there's wrinkly eyes. And I thought, that's it. We're always talking about hooded eyes, and that sort of seems to lump everybody in with that, whether it's genetic hooded eyes or whether it's aging hooded eyes, but they're two separate things. There's genetic hooded eyes that are smooth and beautiful, and then there is wrinkling eyes. And some people just have wrinkly eyes, some people just have hooded eyes, and some people have both. And I believe that what I had before the surgery was hooded, wrinkly eyes. And I think it would have been really useful if the surgeon had have discussed it that way with me. You know, these will be the results regarding the hooding, this will be the results regarding the aging, that kind of thing. Because I feel like he might tell me that even if I do go back and say I've still got hooded eyes, he might say, yes, but I've taken the wrinkling away, they're now a lot smoother, which they are. But I talked about hooded eyes. I was going to see him for hooded eyes, and I wonder now, did I make it clear enough that I wanted to have less hooding after the surgery, if that makes sense? Because he's definitely addressed the wrinkly skin. I agree with you all, definitely the skin is looking a lot smoother on my eyes. If they end up staying hooded, even if there is extra hooding here, the skin is much smoother. It'll be really interesting to me to see how it works out with eyeshadow. And I got an eyeshadow palette for Christmas from Kev, the Morphe True Selfie or something like that. So I'm really excited about using eyeshadow and seeing what a difference that makes, you know. So like I said, I think he's addressed the aging skin. He's taken away the excess loose skin. And I think he's tried to address my hooded eyes, but I think that, do you remember I said he mentioned brow droop or brow ptosis as it's known, might be the reason that it looks like my eyes are as hooded as before. I do think that that's what's happened. So I feel like looking in the mirror, I've got less space from under my eyebrow to the top of my eyelid. And I thought, is there any way I can figure this out? And so I've looked at some photos and I've put them in Photoshop, like one under the other, and measured them to make sure that the eyes, my eyeballs, as in what you can see under my top eyelid, are exactly the same size in each, if you see what I mean. That although it's not my actual size, the photos are the same. And then I've measured my lid space, and it does look as if there is about 0.5 centimetre less lid space here, now than there was before surgery. So I do think that my brows have drooped a little bit. So who knows, that might change in itself. These might raise up a bit and get, you know, that's likely to happen with me, because remember, my skin is so loose because of the Ehlers-Danlos loss that if it is tight and being pulled down, it will probably loosen up again anyway. So if that is the case, that I have brow droop, there are 3 potential solutions. One is that he could redo surgery, because if there's enough excess skin, he could redo the blepharoplasty. But I suspect that there won't be enough loose skin to do that. Because remember, you've got to be able to pinch enough skin without pulling your brow down and without opening your eyelid. And I don't feel like it looks like there's going to be enough to do another blepharoplasty. But additionally, if the first one has pulled my eyebrows down, then I wouldn't want to have another one for risk of that happening again. Because imagine if it pulled it down even further, you could just keep getting the same result. It wouldn't seem to me to be a sensible thing to do another surgery. The second option is Botox, like I said, because I'm happier to have Botox now, because Allergan have stopped using the LD50 test, which was the cruel mice test. So if you remember, that's why I stopped having Botox. And I used to have Botox for my hooded eyes for that very reason, you know, it just had a bit along in there and then along here, and it would just sort of hold your eyebrows, sometimes give you a little bit of a lift. And that would actually be perfect, because if I could get that effect, then even if I relax and I'm holding my eyebrows a little bit, that's pretty much the effect I was looking for, and I would be delighted with that. However, obviously this surgeon doesn't do Botox and is not going to offer me lifelong Botox if he accepted that something he did has gone wrong. I need to double check the paperwork as well and find out whether or not, even though he didn't mention it, whether or not brow droop is mentioned as a possible complication. I haven't checked that yet. Like I said, I need to just forget about it really until April. So I don't think that Botox is the answer from him, but I think it may be one that would make me happy. And the third option is something that I don't know whether he would offer, but a brow lift. And that's really interesting, because at my initial consultation with him, he said that I was not a candidate for a brow lift, and I wasn't asking for a brow lift, but he said women come to him and say, I've got hooded aging eyes, I want eyelid surgery, or I want a brow lift. And he said it's for him to then tell them which one is the most appropriate for them. And he sort of measured my brows and said that my brows were in a youthful position, and therefore and also I don't have any horizontal lines on my head, therefore he wouldn't be able to do a brow lift on me. So whether or not he'd be able to do a brow lift now, I don't know, because obviously if my brows have drooped, then they have changed position, so he may be willing to reconsider. I don't know, but again, that's something that I can't honestly see. Even if he says, you know what, I didn't tell you about the brow droop and now it has happened, I still can't see them saying, I'll do a free brow lift for you. I really can't see that happening, but we'll see. Like I said, we need to wait until the time. There is one that you can have under local anaesthetic, which is called an endoscopic brow lift. So it's not quite as invasive. I think they just put 2 little things in, like I said, under local anaesthetic and lift up. So that's one I would consider, but I don't think I'd go under general anaesthetic to have it. I'd rather go and pay for my own Botox. So those are the options that I think may be available to me if it does look like I have brow droop. And at the moment, if you look at the photos, I think they are definitely improving. And I think you can see a difference just in those 2 weeks, even though I didn't feel like I had any swelling. Probably 50% of you said you could see swelling, but the other 50% like me just said they couldn't see anything. But the photos are showing some improvement, but they do definitely still show that I have hooded eyes. So we shall see how things progress from here. And I will of course keep you guys updated. I bought some eyelid tape. I bought that a long time ago actually, and I tried one. I put one on my crease just before I was getting surgery, and it looks like it works amazingly, but I didn't leave it on for any time. I literally just put it on and then took it off, and I don't know how it sits under makeup. It's the eyelid tape that I think is popular in Asian women, and I also bought the Remiscar gel, which I'll be curious to try. And Remiscar gel sagging eyelids it's called, but it's not like a long-term fix. It's just something you could put on under makeup to smooth out your eyes, I think. So I'm going to give that a try, and I'll give both of those a try with you guys on screen. You know, I will do a review of both of those once my eyes feel fully healed. And it's kind of ironic because in the last video I was saying to you guys that I was really surprised at how quickly my eyes had healed because of my Ehlers-Danlos loss and how little bruising I had, etc., because normally I bruise a lot. It does seem as that is because my blood pressure is controlled, that I had less bruising, but what's showing now is that although I can put makeup on from today, my eyes are still not completely healed. So they healed like 80% very, very quickly, but that last little bit I think is maybe just going to take me a little bit longer than most, and I just need to wait a bit longer for it to completely heal. They just feel a little bit, my eyes feel a little bit tired, and you know, I feel like there's sort of a cut there, so I'm trying to just be very, very gentle with them. I don't know if you'll see me again over the Christmas New Year period. I do of course want to come and do 2018 favourites for you, but it's probably going to be middle of January, because this to me is the perfect opportunity to take a bit of time off, because who knows when I'll get, you know, another, like if Kev takes time off work, we'll be going on holiday, and I never take time off. So I think this is the perfect opportunity to rest, and that means that my eyes will heal better. Anyway, the more I rest, the more my eyes will heal. But as soon as I feel like my eyes are ready for makeup, then I will come and do a video and you'll see me then, which hopefully won't be too long. We've got a couple of other health things going on as well. Watson has another lump that we had some cells taken on Friday just gone. The vet thinks it's a benign tumour called a histiocytoma. He's had one before in his lip, but they can't be sure, so we're waiting for the results, which we get at the end of this week. So hopefully that's all okay, and obviously if it isn't, that would change everything for me, because my priority would be Watson. With me as well, I'm having a bit of a health scare, which I won't go into because it could turn out to be nothing. I've talked about it over on my Patreon channel, but it's basically still trying to get to the bottom of my headaches, and I've got some blood test results that are showing things, but I need to wait and have more, and you know, things like that. So yeah, I really do think a bit of a rest will do me good. Sound like I'm trying to convince myself, don't I? I know you guys are absolutely fine with me taking a break, but it's more I'm trying to convince myself to actually just chill out and do nothing. I think I've covered everything. I wasn't sure if I was going to get a chance to do a video today because Christmas Day for us is very, very busy actually. We got up at 8, did present opening, mostly Watson. We had loads of presents from all of our friends. We all buy presents for each other's dogs. So we did present opening. Then we drove across the other side of the city to see Kev's parents and did present opening with them. Drove back. Watson's had a walk as well, but he'll need another walk. And then I need to do the last minute tidying up and start getting ready for dinner for my dad and Eve to come across later on. So yeah, it's kind of a busy day. That's everything for today. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting this journey. It's been really interesting and really helpful actually to have all your feedback, because I told you in the last video that my husband made me feel better when he said he could see a little bit of difference. And through all the comments, most people could see exactly what I was saying. So that was great, because in fact, I don't think there was anybody that disagreed with me. You all said, yeah, absolutely, you're right. You still have hooded eyes. The hooded eyes I know better than before. But probably at least 50% of you were saying, however, the skin is much smoother and they do look much nicer. And so that was good, because although I couldn't actually see it at the time, those comments sort of, you know, they stew, they sink in, and you start going, oh yeah, maybe I can see what people talk about. So it was really nice. So thank you so much for that. That's been really helpful. Because you can never see, I'm the most critical person of myself. We all are, aren't we? And so you're never going to see the positives, really. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking now and get on with Christmas Day. So Merry Christmas to everybody. I hope you're having a lovely day, and I will speak to you again soon.